Hi everybody, it's Monica with American English with Monica. I'm so glad you're here. This is a special video about the World Cup. Are you watching? It's a really big deal. I think a lot of people in the world are watching this special tournament. But some of the words that they use in international English are different in the American accent. So today we're going to review a list of some words that have a different word that we use in the country where I'm from. And stay tuned until the end because I have a few more bonus words and an important pronunciation lesson. All right, let's get started. First of all, we're talking about the sport of football. Football. This is what most people in the world call the sport that's in the World Cup. But do you know the word that most Americans use? It's called soccer. Soccer is the sport, that's the word that I'm used to, because football in the United States of America is known, it's the name of a different sport. So soccer, but it's called football internationally. You probably call it football in your country, but I don't know. Tell me in the comments if you call it soccer or football. The next word I wrote down was kit, the word kit. This is not something I've heard in the American accent, but it's talking about the clothing that the players wear during the game. It's their kit. And in American sports, we call it a uniform. It's the special clothing that you wear for a certain sport or a certain task or a certain job. We use the word uniform for any special set of clothing. Like a police officer has a certain uniform. A doctor might have a different uniform. A baseball player has a certain uniform. So they call it a kit internationally. That's the international English. And the part of the kit is the top, the jersey, the top, the kit. What about the shoes? Do you know what the word in the American accent is? In international games, I've heard boot, boots. Let's pluralize it. Usually shoes are two. In the American accent, we use the word cleat, cleats. Have you heard that word before? There are different cleats for different sports. So soccer cleats or boots are different than someone might wear for a baseball game, for example. But internationally, most of the announcers during the World Cup, they're calling them boots, which sounds a little unusual to my ears because as an American, the word boots refers to a completely different shoe. What about the word pitch? This is a great word. It's talking about the grass, the grassy field where the players have the game. We call it usually a field in the American accent. Sports that are played on a grass field, within certain lines. It would be unusual for the American accent to call it a pitch. Maybe in very specific sports, some people call it a pitch, like rugby or soccer, football. But usually the American accent, we say there are 11 players on the field during the game of soccer. That's usually what we say, field. What about the position, the player that guards or defends the goal? I've heard many announcers call it the keeper, but in American accent, we often call it the goalie. Oh, I missed one. I'll come back to match in a moment. But the keeper, usually that's what they're calling it in football, the international, that's what I've heard it. Goalie is certainly what I'm used to saying. The goalkeeper is the goalie. In other sports like hockey, yeah. But what I've noticed in the World Cup is they call that player the keeper. What about you? Have you heard the word goalie? Or are you used to using the word keeper? I skipped the word match. This is a lovely word. We use usually the word game in the American English accent. We sometimes use the word match for particular sports, like tennis. A tennis game, we almost always call that a tennis match. But usually we say a soccer game. Are you going to watch the game today? Did you see the game yesterday? But in what I've noticed during the World Cup is most people call it a match, right? We have the quarterfinals coming up. We're going to watch the match tomorrow. This next word I thought was really cool. The word nil. This is not a common word in the American accent. We use the word zero, but I've noticed when people are talking about the score, the outcome of a game, one team had 3 goals and the other team had 0 goals. And so they say the score is 3-0. Yeah, I like this word. It's just not very common. We almost always say 0. And Americans often shorten 0 just to O. So we'll say 3-0 instead of 3-0 or 3-0 when we're talking about a score. All right. The last word I have on this list is draw. And this is when the score at the end of the game, both teams have the same number of goals. So 2-2 is a draw. But Americans usually use the word tie. The American accent, the English, is usually a tie. It was a draw, it was a tie. This would be very uncommon in the American accent, a draw. Do you have any questions about these words? Or do you have any more words for this list that the international English might be different than the American English? Just put it in the comments. I'd love to know. I wanted to show you a bonus of 3 more positions. These are positions. These are jobs people have. And we have different words for them in the American accent. Okay, so in the American accent, we call the manager the head coach. This is the first highest ranking coach is what we say, the head coach. But I've heard during the World Cup, the announcers are showing, the camera's showing the manager, the person in charge of the team on the sidelines that's making decisions about the plays. That's the manager in international English. A manager of a team for most of the sports in America is someone different than the coach. I also noticed that they say trainers, and that's a word used for coaches. This is really interesting to me. So when you're talking international English, the sport of football, when you say there are 3 or 4 trainers helping the team, helping the head coach, they're talking about other coaches. But a trainer in the American accent is a medical person. When we're talking about sports on a field, when the trainers come out, they're helping an injured player. But in the World Cup, if there's an injured player, the manager and the trainers don't come out. It's a physio. It's someone that's a medic. So we might say medic. We usually say trainer for this. Trainer is usually the American accent. Yeah, this was really an interesting difference, because if you told me your friend was a trainer on the team, I would immediately think that they are a medical person. But if you told me, no, your friend is a coach, okay, I would understand, but it's called a trainer in some parts of the world. We do use the word trainer for physio, for people that know about medical and the body, during not just sports, but at gyms or if you're recovering from an injury and you need to go see a physical trainer. But we do not use the word trainer in the American accent. We don't use the word trainer for a coach. That would be really unusual. Yeah. All right, you stayed till the end. Thank you. I want to teach you how to properly say USA. The country where I'm from, the United States of America. I was talking about the World Cup with one of my students, and he said he was going to watch the match with, he said, USA. I said, what's USA? And he said, USA, U-S-A. And I said, no, you have to say each letter. It's not a word. You can't say USA. You have to say U-S-A. The A has to be a long A, not A. Because I didn't know what he meant. So your pronunciation lesson for today, if you're saying the country, the United States of America, and you're using just the letters, the abbreviation, you have to say it as 3 different letters, USA. Okay? Well, I hope you're enjoying the World Cup. If you're watching, let me know in the comments, what team are you cheering for? It's really exciting. The sport is very exciting, and it's getting more popular in the United States. I know that football or soccer is popular in a lot of countries. Is it popular where you are? Please tell me. I'd love to know. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Share the videos that I make with your other friends that are learning English, practicing English. It's really nice to know that people are watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be putting out a video every Friday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.